What if I told you that the 8-hour workday you enjoy today was paid for in blood? That people were shot, hanged, and beaten just so you could have a lunch break? Every year on May 1st, the world celebrates Labor Day. But most people treat it as just another holiday, a day off, a long weekend, maybe a barbecue. But the real story behind Labor Day? It's dark, brutal, and incredibly powerful. Welcome to Vector Voice, where we give voice to the stories that matter. The year is 1886. The place? Chicago, USA. The Industrial Revolution has changed the world. Factories are booming. Wealth is exploding. But here's the dark side nobody talks about. Workers, men, women, and even children as young as 5 were forced to work 12 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. No breaks, no safety, no dignity. You got injured on the job. You were replaced. You complained. You were fired. You tried to organize. You were arrested. The factory owners were building empires. The workers were building graves. But enough was enough. On May 1st, 1886, over 300,000 workers across the United States went on strike. Their demand was simple, just 3 words: 8 hours work, 8 hours rest, 8 hours recreation. That's it. They weren't asking for luxury. They were asking to be treated like human beings. And what did they get in return? Welcome to Vector Voice, where we give voice to the stories that matter. May 4th, 1886. Haymarket Square, Chicago. Workers gathered for a peaceful rally. They brought their families. They carried signs, not weapons. Then the police arrived. And what happened next changed history forever. Someone, and to this day nobody knows who, threw a bomb into the crowd. Chaos erupted. Police opened fire. Workers ran for their lives. 7 police officers died. At least 4 workers were killed. Dozens were injured. But here's where it gets truly unjust. The government didn't investigate who threw the bomb. Instead, they arrested 8 labor leaders, not because they threw the bomb, but because they organized the movement. 4 of them were hanged. 1 took his own life in prison. The remaining 3 were pardoned years later, when the governor admitted the trial was a complete farce. These men died, not for violence, but for your right to work 8 hours a day. Let that sink in. The sacrifice in Haymarket didn't go unnoticed. In 1889, an international federation of socialist groups declared May 1st as International Workers' Day, in honor of the Chicago Martyrs. Soon, countries around the world adopted it. India, Labor Day has been celebrated since 1923, first in Chennai, organized by the Labour Kisan Party. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Germany, France, Brazil all recognize May 1st. Over 80 countries celebrate it as a national holiday. But here's the irony. The United States, where it all started. They celebrate Labor Day in September, not May. Many historians believe the US government deliberately moved the date to disconnect it from the radical revolutionary roots of May 1st. They didn't want workers to remember their power. Now you might be thinking, that was 1886. Things are different now. Are they? Today, gig workers deliver your food in 10 minutes, but don't get health insurance. Amazon warehouse workers wear diapers because they don't get bathroom breaks. Millions of workers worldwide still work in sweatshops, earning less than $2 a day. And the new epidemic? Burnout culture, where working 80 hours a week is glorified as hustle. The fight for workers' rights is not over. It has just changed shape. Labor Day isn't about a holiday. It's about a reminder that every right you have at work was fought for by someone who had none. So this Labor Day, don't just enjoy the day off. Remember why you have it. Remember the workers who stood up when standing up meant dying.